I second it.
And Ms. Jamie, could you call for the vote, please?
Dr. Cynthia Villagomez,
Approve.
Mr. Robert Dura,
Approve.
Mr. William Fulton,
Approve.
Miss Beverly Williams,
Approve.
and Miss Annette Wilson.
Approve.
Our October minutes are approved. Thank you, everyone. So we'll move on to updates that I will give you. The first is our vacancies for our committee. So I am not sure. I know that Councilperson Scipio was working on looking at submissions, but I don't know what has happened with that. I would say we might want to continue to reach out and use our connections with people in the community and encourage them not only to possibly join to fill our vacancies, but we want to build our subcommittees. And so I think now that COVID is, we're sort of in a safe period, hopefully, we pray and keep our fingers crossed. But I just encourage you to build your subcommittees. And we were each appointed to a specific subcommittee because of our interests and connections. And so if I can in any way assist you with that, please reach out to me. I should probably send my phone number again, but I am very, very happy. I would be very happy to help you with that and also engage our Winston-Salem State history interns in that process. So the more we can get out there in the community and meet people and just continue to share our mission and what we are doing and what we hope to achieve with our friends and neighbors and new people we meet, I think the more we can get people involved in our wonderful project. Rooted in Race, I would encourage you all to go down to Union Station. This is a wonderful interactive exhibit. I would say in some ways like the redlining exhibit that we supported last year. So the city is sponsoring this along with Triad Cultural Arts and the Winston-Salem Foundation. So this interactive exhibition is right now currently housed in Union Station. The opening was last weekend, I believe, the 29th of October. Unfortunately, I was out here in San Diego for my niece's wedding, so I couldn't make it. But there will be tours. I believe there's a tour tomorrow and on the 5th, and there will be events this weekend as well as the following weekend. I think the last day to visit and get involved in some discussions will be November 12th. So I will a little bit later put the link that's online in our chat, but I'll also send out the link and a little reminder to the committee after our meeting. And this Rooted in Race actually has to do with the issues in Winston-Salem that rose due to the way that institutionalized racism was connected to desegregation. And so in some ways, this connects to our next item. So we've been contacted by one of the editors of Wake Forest student newspaper, the Old Black and Gold. And this editor would like to interview us about the 1967 riots here in Winston-Salem. And so I will reach out to the editor, but I hope that many of you who might have might remember these riots, you might have lived through them, would also give interviews. There is a connection because, as I understand, I think the scholar who knows this, who has discussed this event, Dr. Ingrid Dunstan, who unfortunately has passed, but she was a African-American scholar, graduated from Duke for her PhD, and she wrote on the riot of 67. And of course, in some ways, it was initiated by the harassment of a Black gentleman, but it also sort of uncovered the frustrations in our Black community at that time that had sort of, for a whole decade, there had been issues where Black children and Black educators were hurt in the desegregation process. The riots ended up leading to a lot of engagement in our community and also to the formation of the Black Panther Party. But there definitely was this connection between the riots and the frustrations over schools. So I would be happy to send the dissertation of Dr. Dunstan to everyone if you want to kind of review what happened. But please, I will email everybody and please consider giving interviews, because this is a great opportunity again for us to share the special work that we are doing and really getting attention out there in the community for our work. Two more items. So again, we have our hardworking busy bees, the history student learning interns. So this semester, we have a number of students who started last year and are continuing on and are eager to just promote our AAHI project. I'm meeting with them once a week, and many of them are also going over to the archive and working with Mr. Flynn and I in the archival materials. Next semester, I have a number of very gifted new history majors that will be joining. So again, their interns are here for you. And if you want to have an intern help you with any project, with, going out there and collecting oral histories, or if there is some research issue that you want, if you want to begin to think about contributing to our official narrative that we have been commissioned to write on behalf of the city, if you want to take a little piece of that history, then the students are here for you. And so we're just excited. This has been really the center of our work, and we are all just so inspired and thrilled, and this has changed everybody's lives truly, who are at Winston-Salem State, who are working on our project. So lastly, exciting news. So my dear and most beloved colleague, Dr. Donna Benson, who is our African-American specialist in history at Winston-Salem State. Some of you, I know her because she, of course, was the first woman to be a chancellor in the UNC system. She was a chancellor at 2 of our HBCUs, and she was also formerly dean of our School of Education. But she is a Duke PhD in African-American history. And so she has, I'm not sure if I could get her to join our committee, because she has lots and lots of work with teaching. She's probably our most engaged teacher and pedagogue of teaching, but she's going to be part of our research and writing team moving forward. And I really think it's a blessing, because she's so well respected in the state, and so she will bring more visibility and affirmation of the positive work we are doing. So I'm just so delighted, and maybe she can join us in a future meeting if she's not teaching. So those are my reports. And I believe we can move on to Ms. Wanda's director's reports.
And thank you so much, Chair Villa-Gomez. And really, I don't have a report per se for the AAHI committee today. I just echo the sentiments that you shared during your updates, and wanted to ask for a point of clarification about the interns. When you say that the interns are available, would you foresee them being able to assist with a lot of the work that Jamie and the city's IS team undertakes as far as maybe vetting materials and things like that? I just wasn't sure what any of the parameters or limitations may be for using them.
No, absolutely. I think they've really developed wonderful grounding in the research and writing part, and learned how to be public historians. But that experiential work of really working with city staff would be wonderful for them. Some of them want to go on to be public historians. Some of them are planning to go and get masters in public administration. So the more that they can interact and the city staff can assign them specific tasks, then and supervise, and then I will just be there to kind of continue to, and if the city staff says we need students to do this, I will assign that because that direct connection with our city staff will help them to grow and give them some new dimensions in this professional development. So yes, we can talk about it this semester, and I'll develop the curriculum around the assignments that you would like to give them. So that's very exciting.
Just curious. Thank you. I didn't want to assume anything. I wanted to make sure I asked. And you know what, Chair Villa-Gomez, I misspoke too when I said that I didn't have any updates, because my timing has been kind of thrown off with thinking that I've already done something that I haven't done. And this is an example of that, because we do have with us today the new assistant director of our department. I mean, and that would have been insane not to introduce him. So, and he sat there patiently, and Ronnie, you have to nudge me sometimes, send me a message or be like, what in the world, I'm here. So I'm glad that Ronnie joined us today. But we have with us today, Chair Villa-Gomez and members of the committee, Dr. Ronnie Christian. And Ronnie is actually a native of Winston-Salem, and he is our brand new assistant director of the Human Relations DEI department. And I would like to ask him to please introduce himself and give you a little more information about his background and his experience with the city. And then also, I think he has a pretty cool tie-in potentially with the AAHI, given a part of his background. So Dr. Christian, would you mind?
No, not at all. Well, thank you. And good afternoon to everybody. Again, I'm Dr. Ronnie Christian. I am the new Assistant Director of Human Relations, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Department. I am a native of Winston-Salem. I actually grew up in the Happy Hill Gardens community. And so definitely have a real affinity for what we're doing and what you guys have been doing here with the AAHI committee. So real excited to be a part of what's going on. And a little bit more about me. Again, grew up in Happy Hill housing community, went to Parkland High School, graduated from Parkland High School, attended undergraduate at Appalachian State University, attended North Carolina A&T and Agricultural Technical State University. Have a little Aggie pride, where I received my master's in business and industry counseling and attended the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, where I received my postmasters in school leadership and my EDD in educational leadership. So excited to be able to use those credentials to help in my role. Attended Cornell University to receive my diversity, equity, and inclusion certification as well. So having those credentials and being able to bring those back to the Human Relations Department is just a great opportunity for me. I worked with the city of Winston-Salem for 5 years as a police officer. I worked in human relations with Wanda and the team as an investigator for 2 years. And I also worked with Martha Jo Campbell, if you guys remember her, for workforce development for the city of Winston. So have a great deal of experience working in local government, along with my 16 years of experience working in education. So again, just glad to be here and looking forward to being an integral part of what we're doing as we move forward within the city of Winston.
And thank you, Dr. Christian. I appreciate your taking the time to introduce yourself to the committee. And Chair Villa-Gomez, that is my report. He just said it all.
Thank you, Ms. Wanda. So are there any city and staff updates? I believe Mr. Elliott is with us.
Yeah, let me find my camera. There it is. There it is. There it is. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to follow up. There was a request made at the meeting last month about updating the language on the AAHI webpage to reflect the tie-in we now have with Digital North Carolina. I drafted some text changes. I sent them by Tom to see if that corresponded with his understanding of how things work. Tom Flynn said, yes, looks good to him. Sent them to Wanda. Wanda thinks it looks good to her. And basically it's just kind of deleting some language that's specifically referenced to us archiving the material, and notes that the material is going to be held by North Carolina Digital Heritage Center, and that you go through them to retrieve it. It deletes the language saying that we hoped at some future date to have a search and retrieval function. Since we are not going to be doing that ourselves, people can essentially retrieve anything now thanks to tie-in with Digital North Carolina. There is language on that homepage right now referring to the collection teams. Some of the collection team leaders, as we know, Ms. Penn and Ms. Johnson have passed away. They're still listed on the website. I don't know if we want to take that language down for the time being, but I wanted to make the committee aware of that and let you decide if we keep that page active or temporarily disable it, or maybe disable these sections related to the committees that they oversee. They were the chairs of. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Frank. We appreciate those updates. So you've really moved along in the last month. That's great progress. Thank you.
Can I?
I'm sorry. Oh, sorry, Tom. I was just going to say real quick that we are aware of the fact that, yes, we definitely need to update some items on the website. And that was something that I'd planned to work with Jamie on, is, making sure that we have the names of whoever is leading the requisite committees up to date. But I know that we probably don't have the membership right now for each and every subcommittee to be headed. And so that was something that I know we touched on it a little bit about whether or not some people may want to move to a different subcommittee to head up. And if not, then it would just be a matter of removing the names of previous heads of subcommittees who are not doing that anymore, and just saying vacant, or, just having some kind of indication that those people are not heading those particular subcommittees anymore. So if that's something that everybody is okay with, that perhaps could be something that we could do sooner rather than later. I'm sorry, Tom.
No, you're all right. I was going to bring up a small addition I think needs to be made is a takedown policy to the website. So I'll use this as an example. Somebody submitted, it's a video from WSSU of, I think it was like an invitation to donate to a scholarship fund based on I forget the woman's name. I can find it, but in any event, so the video was uploaded to Digital NC, but the estate of the singer contacted the university and the Internet Archive, which Digital NC uses to host this stuff, and was concerned that because I don't believe the scholarship exists anymore, they were concerned that there'd be confusion, that people would be trying to send money somewhere, and there was no they were confused and concerned. So I asked Digital NC to pull it down until we could figure more out about the video and the scholarship and all that stuff. But I think having a takedown policy so that if, let's say, for instance, I have a program from a church and I scan it and upload it to digital, to have it uploaded to Digital NC, and that church sees it and says, well, we didn't give you permission to put it there. We, as an organization, we need to have a policy saying, oh, we're immediately going to take that down until we investigate any challenges to copyright and things like that before it gets put back up. So I didn't know if we could, as a group, discuss that.
Is that sounds like a legal issue, and that's rather complex. So
we have most digital repositories have a takedown policy saying that when a complaint comes in, the item will immediately be removed until the complaint it's verified. Whoever the owner is can be found. In this instance, it was just a matter of confusion. They didn't know why it was there. Something old was being posted back up. They were confused, and we're trying to explain it to them. But we asked Digital NC to pull it down until we could explain it to them, the purpose of it. But I think in the instance of, because you're asking community members to submit things, they very well may have something that really was created by somebody else and falls within the ownership of that other person. And so just being able to say, hey, we've got a policy, we're going to pull it down until we can figure out, we can ask that church, are you okay? This is why we're doing this. Are you okay with us keeping it there? I think having some sort of thing written as to the procedure would be useful.
Do you think perhaps we should even vet things like that ahead of time before they're posted, if we think that, if that's something we can do, so we could reach out once we've received something to the institutions if they continue to exist, whether it's a church or any other organization, and just make sure before we even post that they're okay with it. I know that makes more work up front, but then we wouldn't have to do the cleanup after the fact.
If I'm being honest, I would continue to ask for forgiveness rather than permission, because most places aren't going to care.
Okay.
And it took, I was on the phone for 30 seconds with Digital NC and they pulled it down. So I don't think it's complicated. And they do have in the submission form, it asks who the creator was. So that would give us that at least idea of who. I feel bad that the first one was from WSSU, but.
Well, thanks for that, Tom. I mean, you're our archivist, so you know how this works. You have real practical experience with this. So thanks for that.
Mm-hmm.
And Chair Villagomez, we don't have anyone, it seems, from our IS team today. They may be joining a little late. I'm not sure. And also from the city attorney's office, we may have them to join before we conclude, but I'm not sure. I think a couple of people had conflicts today.
Okay. Well, we're doing pretty well on time. I think we've gone through everyone's reports, so this might be a good time to just share any updates. So if the rest of the committee, if you've had some great experiences and interacted, I know Miss Annette has been working with their office, the Historic Preservation Office, so she might have updates, but or we could brainstorm together a little bit. Because again, if there's anything that I can do to facilitate events, projects, any kind of thing that you individually for your subcommittee want to accomplish, then this could be a good time to brainstorm.
So Chair Villagomez, with that being said, I really do want to explore with the committee ways in which perhaps some of your students, along with maybe one or two staff with the city, could work together to maybe have some particular days in mind to have submissions, collections, that type of thing. But I know it's getting a little dicier now because we're getting into the holiday season, we're getting into colder weather, and also finals. You know, finals will be coming up soon for the students. But just wanted to put out there that that is something that we would be open to as a department, is just to see how it is that we could perhaps work together so that we're making sure that we are receiving those types of submissions. One such example would be when you mentioned the Rooted in Race, the whole exhibition that's going on now. We would really, really appreciate any assistance at all with uploading the information that we're supposed to be receiving at the conclusion of the exhibition. Because as you know, with Rooted in Race, there will be photographs, there will be all kinds of other information that would be pertinent to the reasons why we have the AAHI to begin with for the digital archiving. And so we may want to have some type of a plan in place for how we are going to upload, or whether that could be some type of a team effort to get that information uploaded expeditiously.
Yes, indeed. I think one of the things we could do to be as proactive now as we can be in anticipation of the next semester, so we can really hit the ground running, would be to have city staff. I have two separate Zoom meetings, one on Monday with 2 interns and one on Tuesday with 3 to 4 other interns, and it's always at from 1 to 2. So city staff, I could share the link and they could come in and talk about what they would like the students to do. And then because Tom is so good with digitizing, I mean, we might be able to then use Tom will have to chime in here, but we might be able to actually get that work done in our archive or in our library. If not, in terms of vetting material, if the material could be sent to us digitally, then I would just work with the students and we would go through that material. I can't promise that all the students would have the transportation to get down to the city itself, but some of them would probably love to go there and work face to face. So I think there are a lot of different options, and we could kind of develop a plan that would enable us to work effectively with the ones who might not be able to go down to the city, and then the others who could work remotely. But we could continue to have city staff join us in the spring, especially, so we could set regular days and times weekly to meet if that worked. So we're very flexible. And again, the more that I can have the students work with you all, the better. So I think it's great. I mean, I'm very excited about this. So we'll work with you because we know you have lots of other work too. So we'll definitely devise a plan.
Okay, that sounds good. And I would not want to give the impression that we are excluding the AAHI as well, because of course, committee members with the AAHI may also want to be a part of the whole process of uploading this information so that it can be retrievable and all of that. So definitely, I would like to encourage anyone who is a member of the AAHI to just let us know if you would like to be a part of that. And I know that on our staff, Jamie has been working with Carlin on making sure they're checking for any submissions or anything that we receive. And so I would be leaning on the two of them to be the point persons for your interns in terms of how we move forward and the best way to move forward and what does that look like? Because we do have the equipment, we have scanners and all these other things. And so, do we go to WSSU if the students can't come to City Hall? I think that we could be very flexible.
Great. Thank you, Wanda. And Tom and I can also talk and get back. I think it would be great for the students who could come down to the city to work directly there. But Tom and I will work out and see what's manageable from, the space that we have. So yeah, this is great. This is perfect. This is a wonderful way for us to move forward.
Absolutely. I agree. And Jamie, I would like to make sure that we have your thoughts as well, because again, we would be leaning on you and Carlin to work with the students in terms of, like we said, submissions and uploads, and even with Cheryl Harry with the whole Rooted in Race exhibition and the Winston-Salem Foundation, getting that information from them. Did you have any thoughts about working with the interns or needing the help of the AAHI committee with this?
Yeah, I think that would be, it'd be great to have the support for sure. And we have all the equipment. I think having a scheduled time so that we could have a couple of people in a space where we're all, spread out, but we can have everything plugged in and ready to go. We have 3 sets of everything. So we definitely could have 3 stations going. So if we could, once we know what Cheryl Harry will have, then we can look at what schedule works best with the interns and then look at that. I think that would be great. Or even the committee members that would want to come in and help.
Thanks, Jamie. Would that be, are we looking at that November 12th weekend, or could we schedule things at Union Station during the week? So I know that, for instance, when we did the Union Station project prior to the grand opening, that Tom did a lot of oral histories. So people would reach out to him and schedule meetings, and he'd walk over to Union Station with equipment. And I went with him 1 or 2 times when he took the oral histories. So I would imagine that we might be able to get access to Union Station when the general public is not there, but I'm not sure. But I think that especially during the weekdays, that because Union Station is practically on our campus, that would definitely be a good place that our students could just walk over there and work with you. So we would just need to know, days and times, and I would try to be there as well to always support.
I would be happy to reach out to Miss Harry and see when they're planning on taking the exhibit down. I know they'll have their last Saturday opening, where it's open on that 12th date. So depending on when they're planning on taking it down, and maybe we can figure that out. That would be a great location because it's definitely wide open. The space would be there. It'd just be a matter of taking the equipment over.
And it's my understanding from Councilperson Scipio that one of the agreements for the city in supporting the exhibition was that we would be able to take the oral histories. That there's a discussion of the oral histories on the Rooted in Race website, but there's not really any schedule for how people are doing this, etc. So yeah, I think we should probably reach out to Miss Harry and see, because it may be that the exhibition might be taken down, but we could continue the work with them after the fact. So that would be very manageable, because again, for me and the interns, we could get over to Union Station if we could work there quite readily. And there also could be the possibility of having, if we can't use Union Station, I could work with Tom to schedule people to come to the archive. Tom has a space set up in our library's archive where oral histories have been done, I think, for years and years. So that could be another possibility. Tom, do you have anything to add?
I agree with everything you said.
Thank
I'm on board. I'm on board.
Chair Villagomez, it may be a good thing to have the AAHI to vote to more or less formalize the fact that they approve of what we're talking about as far as having the city staff to liaise between the AAHI and WSSU's interns for this whole process, not only with Rooted in Race, but in general with getting this information uploaded, particularly for the new semester.
That's wonderful. Wonderful suggestion. Yes, I absolutely agree. We should vote on it. Could we have someone move to approve and support this what would be a formal partnership between our archive and the history interns and the city and AAHI? So if we could have someone kindly move for that.
I move to have the AAU to join in the city staff and interns.
Thank you, Mr. Fulton.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson. Ms. Jamie, could you take the vote?
Sure. Dr. Cynthia Villagomez.
Approve.
Mr. Robert Dura. Oh, we got him on mute again. Okay. Mr. William Fulton.
Approve.
Miss Beverly Williams.
I approve also.
And Miss Annette Wilson.
Approve.
So our official partnership on working on all of these projects is approved. Thank you, everyone. Wanda, do we have some of our legal team with us now, I believe? I think I see some of our lawyers, our city lawyers have joined, I believe.
I do not see Keisha Red. She's supposed to be joining. She's on a call. And so she's supposed to be joining as soon as that call concludes. But I don't see her unless I'm just missing her. I don't see her up there.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, we're at about 8 minutes to 3. If we would like to stay on a little longer, hopefully she can join us, but we would have a little bit more time. We're making great progress today. Are there other issues or updates that people would like to share or discuss?
Mr. Chairman, I was and listened to the discussion about the Union Station. I
Yes.
was at the unveiling of the Freeman School over at Walltown on Saturday. It was a lot of history given out by
Wow.
members. And I'm just wondering, did the city or anybody pick up on those oral conversations? Because there's a lot out there that was given out on Saturday.
And Chair Villagomez, if I may, Mr. Fulton, actually we had some of your sister advisory board, the Human Relations Commission, had representation not only at Rooted in Race, but also at the Freedmen's historic marker unveiling. And so one particular commissioner, the vice chair, shared pictures with me. And so I do know that we have some photos, and hopefully she will have even more information to share so that we can follow up accordingly. But I'm so happy that you were there. And I think, Ms. Annette, weren't you there too?
Yes, I was at both events on Saturday, and they both provided excellent opportunities for oral history. And that was one of my questions. Going through the process for them getting the historic marker, I know they had to submit an application that has some type of narrative with it. Does that become property of that committee, or is that something that we could ask to be shared for downloading to this committee?
You know,
or to our site?
We will definitely ask. I have no problem at all asking the Historic Resources Commission, by way of the city staff that administers that commission, if we can have access to that. So I will speak with either Heather or Michelle to see if there's a way that they can share that information with us.
I know when I had, I met with Michelle over the summer, and because of course, the students used the online PDFs for the markers that have already been put up. And Michelle shared with me that in addition to what is put up officially, along with the application, there's so much more history usually in that's shared in the applications, and usually many more pictures than they're able to upload. And she said that they would love to share all of that information, so the interns could work with it, but we could all. So again, if there's any space that already has a historical marker, then we can work with the staff, and they would love to share that material because they're collecting it and they have so much. Michelle said that they themselves can't do justice to everything they have, and they've been considering donating some of it to the North Carolina room at our public library, but they really want AAHI to immerse in that wonderful, rich material that's beyond what is shared with the general public. So that's another exciting way with all of the markers that are already up now that we could build upon that work. And I think that that's a way also, excuse me, I'm going to cry, but it's a way to honor Joycelyn Johnson, because of course we learned that the historical markers were another one of her wonderful projects, and she was so involved in establishing them. And so I think there's so much richness that's been shared with the city, and so we can work with what is already there for us.
Chair Villagomez and Mr. Fulton, I'd also like to make sure you understand that TV 13 digital or WSTV was at the event, recorded it from start to finish. We have that on our YouTube channel right now. I'd have to see how big that file is, but there might be a way to get it in the hands of uploaded as part of the AAHI portion of Digital North Carolina if you want.
That would be great. Thank you.
It would be. And each one of those for that particular, I mean, there were like 12 or more families represented in terms of the remarks they provided. And evidently they've done a lot of work. And so this might be a good time for us to reach out to them, because it talked upon a lot of the categories we have, including business and education. So that might be something for us to look at, since we know they have the information right at hand, and it would be easy for them to share that with us.
Thank you. Yes, that's a great suggestion.
And Madam Chairman, I would like to say that I did attend a meeting with the Historic Resources Committee, Historic Resources Committee on Markers earlier in the month. Had a chance to look at their application process, and there will be another meeting this month in terms of reviewing the applications for this year. However, at that time they did not have that many submissions, so hopefully they have more. And it seems as though that will be a very informative participation opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Annette. And again, thank you for representing us and serving our community. It's so great that we have your representation as part of that committee. So can't wait to see how we continue through your work to collaborate.
And so, Miss Annette, what I'll do too is I emailed Michelle and Heather about having access to information for past and current historical markers, but I let them know that you may be following up with them too.
Okay.
Just to make sure, because you are the liaison from the AAHI. Yeah. So I didn't want to overstep. So I wanted to make sure they knew that, that you, may be following up as well.
I'll be glad to.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Fulton, again for sharing those updates.
No problem. I've been talking ever since Saturday.
Well, can I just say this? I'm from Winston, but I never knew about the African American presence in Walltown to the extent until yesterday, because growing up, we stayed kind of in our neighborhood. So I grew up in East Winston. We really didn't venture too far beyond 5th Street going in that direction. So we didn't interact with the people or the kids unless they were in church or something with us. But I never knew about the rich heritage of the Walltown community and its impact, even with the connection between First Baptist Church and First Walltown Baptist Church. That was a history within itself for those whoever does our religion component. So there is so much history out there that even those of us who are native Winston-Salem don't know about. Well, I don't know about. That's all I can say. But that the comments of those individuals, definitely, if we can capture them, in addition to what the film, because everybody's not going to sit down and watch the whole YouTube, but they might read excerpts from their comments. But either way, if you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to watch that YouTube video, because it's excellent in terms of what they said about their families and their impact on Winston and Salem, and Winston-Salem as we know it today.
And I grew up in Kernersville, and Kernersville had a part in it,
Sure did. I didn't know that either. I'm going to go back and find that cemetery location for that Miss Deary. It just sparked so much, amazement about the history of African Americans in this county.
And as a follow-up, Frank, you did say that there was video that you all did at Union Station, right?
We were not at the Union Station event, no.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether I was there. I don't know whether Miss Harry had it videoed or not, but it too was a good program. And I think the opportunity for additional oral histories could come out of that, because it was evident that the participants that were there had a lot to share that they could not just share in the 1 minute they were given to be on the program that day. So that might be a source of, those program participants might be individuals we reach out to see if they'll share oral history with us.
Yeah, I think so. That would be awesome. I agree with you, Miss Annette, because we have to capture all of that. It would be a shame not to, that's for sure. And Chair Villagomez, we do have our very esteemed Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Keisha Redd, with us now. And Tom, are you still on? Yeah, you are. Tom, I know you were talking about some things a little while ago, and Chair Villagomez mentioned that she thought that those were legalistic types of issues. And so would you mind kind of recapping what your concerns were?
Yeah, sure. So what I was saying was, I think there's a need for a takedown policy on the city's website regarding submissions to AAHI. And so I'll use the example from WSSU, although it's not a great example. A video was uploaded, and WSSU had created it as a kind of promotional piece to get donations to a scholarship fund. Well, the scholarship's no longer in place, and the person with which the scholarship was named after, the estate of that person, reached out wondering why it was posted. They were confused as to why something old was posted, and they were concerned that people would be confused and might try and donate to a fund that might not actually still exist, right? And so I called Digital NC, and they took it down until we could figure out, does the scholarship fund still exist? All these things, and we could provide details to the estate of the family. But having this policy, my point was, if, let's say, for instance, I attend a church and I get a program from an event and I scan it and upload it, and then the church contacts either the city or Digital NC or whoever to say, hey, that's our church's, we didn't give permission for it to be up there. Us as a committee need a policy to fall back on and say, all right, well, we're going to pull it down immediately until we can figure out the who holds the rights, like verify it's not really a complaint, but the question, and then decide from there what to do with it. So that was.
I agree. When we were originally kind of talking through the submissions and accepting submissions and vetting them and copyrights and whatnot, I thought that there was an agreement that we would have a takedown policy. Is it that it's just not posted on the website?
Yeah, I looked briefly and I didn't see it. Okay. And I could have missed it very easily. But then I also said, I think it's easier, rather than trying to, let's say I have the thing, and in the submission form it says who is the creator. So chances are the creator owns the rights to it. Instead of reaching out to every creator, we could just post it and then say, and then wait and kind of ask for forgiveness rather than permission from those people.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So.
Okay, so I'll confirm who I need to give it to. But as I said, my understanding when this was discussed is that it would be on there. And so if it's not, then we'll get that taken care of.
Okay, because I know those policies, I don't think we have to write a fresh. I'm sure they exist and the language exists out there just already. So thank you.
Thank you. So are there any other issues that people would like to raise and discuss before we adjourn for today? All right. Well, thank you again, everyone. Take very good care. I will reach back out to you in an email with information about the Rooted in Race. I'll post the information from the website. And also, if you are interested in giving an interview to the old Black and Gold about the 1967 riots, please let me know. So I'll send a reminder on that as well. So I believe we can adjourn for today.
Chair Villa-Gomez, can we get someone to commit to that before we adjourn? Because we've gotten like 2 or 3 inquiries from Wake Forest about wanting to interview someone.
So I'll definitely participate in the interviews, but of course I wasn't, I was alive, but I wasn't living in Winston at the time. So any of our committee members, anyone here who knows about those riots, remembers them, I think that your firsthand account would be very valuable. So is there anyone who would like to offer their memories on that riot?
I was in junior high school at the time, and I just vaguely remember nothing concrete that I could share. So they need to, I don't know, we maybe need to identify some other people that might remember. Right offhand, I can't think of anyone, but I know I don't.
I know my colleague Larry Little was
Right. Mm-hmm.
was involved, and so I can reach out to him as well. He's also a Wake Forest Law School graduate, so that would be a nice kind of connection there. But would anybody else from our committee like to get involved with that interview? Because I'll reach out to the editors, unless Ms. Wanda would prefer to connect directly on our behalf.
It doesn't matter, Chair Villa-Gomez, to me. I just definitely wanted to ask Mr. Fulton, Ms. Williams, Mr. Dura, if they have any recollections, if they were here at that time. I know Miss Annette already said that she, was in junior high, doesn't really remember it too well. But Mr. Fulton, Ms. Williams?
Yes. I was at WSSU at that time. But I need to consult with my colleagues, and maybe we can get together and come up with some memories, because I vaguely remember, I remember some of my friends being jailed and that kind of stuff. But the facts, I need to be accurate on the facts. So I wouldn't want to reach out there without that accuracy. So put me down, and then what I would do is make the contact. And then as a group, maybe we can get together and discuss what we all recall. That would be, of value to the Gold and Black group. But yeah, we can definitely sit down and talk with them.
Thanks, Ms. Beverly. What I plan to do is to send out the dissertation that I mentioned. It has a whole chapter on what led up to the riot and then the outcome of the riot. And so I could send that out, and then those of us who would want to participate in the interviews, maybe we could meet on Zoom before we meet and connect with the editor at Wake, if that sounds like a plan that would work for everyone.
I would share what information I have. I attended a couple of rallies.
But if you all would send that to me personally and let me review it, and then that would help trigger some memories, I'm sure.
Definitely.
We can prepare to go forward. I don't know that we necessarily need a Zoom meeting to get together, but we can proceed, with setting up an interview once I get the information.
Okay, yes, I will work on sending that to you and to everyone, so everyone has it. And I'll not just the dissertation, but I think there might be a little more out there. Actually, one of my students, one of our interns, worked on the riots last spring, so I've learned a lot from my student. he was really Philip Stooks, whose family is native to Winston-Salem. He worked on the riots. So I will definitely get that information out to everyone.
His last name is Stooks?
Yes, Philip Stooks.
Okay.
And so, committee members, if you would, if Mr. Fulton, Ms. Beverly, and Chair Villagomez, if you all would just make sure when you interview to mention the fact that you represent the AAHI, because that would be that would be a free plug. You'd be able to put that in there and make people even more aware of the work that you're doing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I did want to say, I did have an opportunity to plug us when I gave my remarks at the race relations event on Saturday, encouraging people to go to our website.
Oh, that's perfect.
Thank you. That's great. So are there any other things that we would like to discuss before we part company today? All right. Well, many thanks again to everyone. I look forward to hearing from people who are going to get involved with our various projects. And again, I'm here for you. So any way that I can support your efforts in working on behalf of AAHI, please reach out to me. I'm in San Diego, but I have my phone, so you can call me and or email me, whatever works, and I will follow up and send all the other information out to you a little later that I mentioned. So please take good care, everyone, and hopefully we'll see each other, God willing, and at our December meeting. I apologize, I don't remember the date for the first Wednesday.
Is that December 7th, someone?
It is.
Okay, December 7th, Wednesday, December 7th, 2:00, same place, same time.
Yes, so see you on December 7th, everyone. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye. Stay safe.